Hello everyone, welcome to November. Thanksgiving is upon us. We are so happy to have you guys serving with us this week. Thank you guys for all that you guys do serving with these kids. This week, really focus on just having that 1 hour block of time. And yes, you only get about an hour, right, with these kids, to really just focus in on what the Holy Spirit has and what the Lord has for them today. And so be filling it with good conversations all about the Lord. Tie everything back to the Lord if you can. Even when you're asking them about their week, be like, well, did you learn anything about God this week or something like that too? And so try to do everything in your power to bring that to light. Now, this first activity, what you're going to do, you're going to just have you're going to have them use their fingers and math for this first activity. So it's just a warm-up activity, really getting their minds moving, getting their blood flowing, all that kind of stuff. And what you're going to do is you're going to have two kids do kind of like a rock, paper, scissors, go. And what they do instead of the rock, paper, scissors is they hold up a certain amount of numbers. And so say that like you put them in pairs. And so say that kid number 1 out of the pair has 2 up and the other kid out of the pair has a 3 up. Well, the first kid out of those 2 to say the number 5, aka add them up, and say the correct number is the one that wins that round. Okay. And so like have them play with all each other and stuff, have them rotate different partners and stuff like that and see who maybe the ultimate winner is. You can play a couple of rounds of that and stuff too as well. So that's just going to be a fun game. Okay, this next one, you'll have some index cards, and what you're going to do with these index cards is you're basically going to talk about different ways that things that we learn to do, okay? So anything that you learn to do, you're going to use this as charades. And so as long as you're writing down the index cards, it's probably the best because you can pick which ones are going to be used for charades. So we'll use it for charades. And so but they want to write down things that you can learn to do. So for instance, like tying your shoe, or reading a book, or playing basketball, all those things are things that we learn how to do. And so you'll want to get those kinds of ideas written down on the note cards. And then you can kind of scramble them up and stuff after you have kind of a lot of ideas, and then the kids get to play charades. And so show one kid a card and they will play charades to the rest of the group, and the rest of the group can try to shout and figure out what some of those were, and throw in a couple of your own ideas without telling them what they were, just to kind of keep them on their toes and make sure that they're not cheating too bad. So that's good. Then you'll go off to large group. We are talking about Paul in prison, and our big theme for the month is contentment, okay? So being content with what you have, or like being okay with what you have, what's going on around you. And so no matter what, including like in Paul's life, we see how he was content even though he was in jail. And so he was still making the best of it. He was still making the most of it. He wasn't complaining, all of that. And so this next activity, what you're going to do after large group is you're going to have the wheel activity. And so you can make a couple of these if they're not already made for you from First Service. And what you can do with these, you'll also have some review questions. And so with this, you'll get into 2 different teams, and each team will be able to go ahead and spin, and they're competing to see who can all get out of jail and stuff like that after everyone goes. But if you spin and it lands on house arrest, then you will have some tape and you need to draw an outline of a house. Okay, it can be like a teepee too if you're not good at drawing houses, that's fine. But just a super basic thing about house, or you can even just do one big box with a couple bars in it, and that looks like a jail. Anything like that. And so if it lands on house arrest, then they have to go stand and touch their foot on the jail or be inside the jail, okay? Then the next person that spins, if they land on set the prisoner free, then you get to ask them one of the review questions. If they answer correctly, then they get to bring the prisoner out of their team out of jail. If they answer incorrectly, then they just go back to the back of the line for that game. They don't have to go under house arrest. But then just kind of keep going as like a review to the story, just as that goes. And then there are a couple of extra explanations at the bottom of that page too. Okay, next one. You'll divide the group into 2 teams again, and it can be teams of 2 or 3 kids, basically. Or sorry, not 2 teams, but 2 or 3 kids. And what you do with this one is you give them a set of OK cards, okay? And you are going to make a scale, and you can do this with like tape on the ground or whatever, however you want to do this, you can. But you'll have basically a contentment scale on the ground. And what this contentment scale looks like is one side says this is super easy, one side says this is super hard. And the teams are going to put these contentment cards in order on how they think hard or easy it is to be content when this is happening. happening, okay? So the first one is like your hair isn't cooperating and it looks kind of weird. Well, most of the guys, for instance, will probably put that on the easy one, like it doesn't matter, whatever, it's just hair. And then most of the girls will probably put this on the higher scale of, oh, I'm not very content when my hair is crazy, so that's really hard. But then when you have the two teams all complete and done, talk about the differences between the two. Why did you guys think that this one was content, and why did you guys think that this one was hard, so on and so forth, that kind of thing. And then you have a lot of other questions at the bottom of that too that you can go through, which will really help kind of break down what that looks like and why. So go through that with them. And then there's some discussion questions on the next page, so be sure to go through those, especially with those older kids. The memory verse activity, what you're going to do with that is you're going to all have plates, and you'll get some markers. They will write the memory verse on the plate, okay? And once they write the memory verse on the plate, go through it a couple of times with them. Then you can play a game with the memory verse. And what you're going to do with this is they're going to hold it like they are a waiter or a waitress, for that matter, at a restaurant, okay? So they kind of hold it like this or whatever. I don't know if they still do this at restaurants, whatever. But have them hold it like this, and then with the other hand, they're trying to swat down the plates of everyone else, okay? So after you do that a couple of times, have them then start saying the verse while they do it, just to kind of get the memory verse in their minds and whatnot, okay? But that's just a fun little game to play while you're going through the memory verse, okay? And have them look it up in their Bible as well. So you can definitely have them look up the Luke 12:15 inside of their Bibles and then figure it out from there too. And copy it. Okay, so then for their prayer and closing activity, you can talk about one way to be content is to simply be thankful. And so what are some things that you're thankful about, especially when it comes to the Lord? And so there's a couple of prompts there on the prayer page if you need a couple prompts for that. And then make sure you pray together with those kids and then bless them for the rest of the week. Thank you guys so much for all that you guys do. That's it for this week. You guys are amazing. This week, the surprise word or the secret word is going to be intentional, because I want you guys to be really intentional when you are with these kids in just focusing in on God and all that He has for them. Thank you guys. See you guys soon.